Comes the sunflowers. Wait a second, are those sunflowers? They look like a different color for me. These draw in pollinators by the dozens, and guess what? They resist the deer and the rabbits. And you even get to feed, right? Feed the birds? Is this something that feeds the birds?
Absolutely.
Because
this one and we have the coneflower coming up. Both of the seed heads will feed the birds in late season.
So you're getting 3 plants in 3 1/4 inch pots. These are perennials, deep burgundy red sunflowers. And then they bloom into this reddish orange color. I mean, like, this is the prettiest sunflower. I mean, I love the traditional yellow sunflowers.
But do you know those are annuals?
Oh,
yeah. So those, you know, the wonderful seeds that sometimes we like to eat at ball games, and the sunflower seeds you have to collect or you rebuy every year. But I love those too. They're so cheerful.
Yes, they are cheerful.
So I got like 6 feet tall ones in my garden, but these are perennial. So that's the big difference here. You know, those annual sunflowers come in all colors too. And so when we saw these, we thought, okay, we are getting that cheerful, beautiful sunflower look, but in a perennial that comes back year after year. Yes, please.
Yes, please. And these are big.
So they do. We talked about that you have different spots in your yard or a container for different plants. These grow to be about 2 feet tall. Look at they're already
big.
And they're on really sturdy stems. So that's the other thing. I've grown a lot of sunflowers and many of them flop over. This is 2 feet, but they're sturdy stems, so they're going to stay up in a rainstorm, in a windstorm.
Oh, that's good
to
know.
You know, think about where you want them in your yard. Up along a fence would be great. They do act as a really nice barrier for things. So if you have, you know, one of those electrical units, or even in front of maybe some taller trees that you just want to add color, but you kind of want to forget it. This is a plant that is a native plant, so it's going to adapt to lots of different conditions and soil. It's also very incredibly hardy. So, you know, we think of sunflowers as liking the heat, the sun. These can be cold down to -30. So they will come back year after year, basically all the way from the south to the Canadian border. So for many of you who have thought they can't have this beautiful, happy, cheerful face, most of you in the country can grow these.
So you are getting 3 of them. I love the idea of to cover things. Like we have some pool equipment that has a little fence around it, but you still kind of see it through. So you're covering something, but it doesn't look like you're covering something.
Because these are dense and tall, about 2 feet tall. So full sun though. So if you're thinking about, I do have that spot, that fence, but it's in the shade all day, this is not the plant for them. Those Arctic foxglove, maybe earlier, they can take the shade. But these sunflowers, true to their name,
they need the sun.
They are a full sun plant. So at least 4 hours of sun, a little bit more would be better, 6 hours of sun. But you know, they're hardy, they're easy to grow, they're colorful, they are, but deer resistant. You said it. I really want to urge you, because sometimes you are putting them back in the, you know, in the corners of your yard where the deer really love to go. So deer resistant, but a pollinator magnet.
Love that.
This is one of those plants that the butterflies will be covered. And they bloom for a long time. So this is a summer bloomer. So after some of our spring plants, so if you're making notes of what you need in your yard, this is going to pop up in the summer, but they do bloom through a couple frosts. So like this is the plant that you'll see in your yard at the end of the season.
And it kind of has those autumnal colors.
They do.
Anyway, so that'll be so pretty to still have, because it is very depressing once it gets to the fall. And it's exciting, the pumpkins and the pumpkin spice latte and all of that. That sounds so weird to me right now, because we're on the complete opposite side of that. But when you get there, it's sad that all the color is gone. So these will still be there, and they're kind of the right color.
They're so fitting for that time. And that's when it blooms, because they do have kind of a color changing. So it's the first is that deep yellow, and then the burgundy red. But even before that, the pictures show it better than what we have here, but the foliage is kind of like a purple almost. You know, it is a really deep, you can see here, it's deeper than a green as it goes through the stages of life. So especially this next photo, you can see like that deep green. I like to call it purple, but I know, you know, I'm a gardener. I like to envision things in my yard. It's not just plain old green. These also make great cut flowers, you know, which is really fun. You can put them in bouquets because they grow not just one stalk, kind of like your traditional annual sunflower.
There's multiple.
Multiple. So you just cut one of those and you can see that yellow with that big center right behind it. orange, right behind it, red.
Love
Look at all those different colors.
Have you ever seen the like a time-lapse video of a field of sunflowers, and they kind of like, they move throughout the day and they find the sun? Yes. And the whole thing kind of goes like, I'll show you in a second when we get back here. But they start over here, and as the sun goes, they do this. Yeah. It's so cool. I mean, it happens so slowly that you have to do a time-lapse video of it, but they almost look like little faces going like this. So sunflowers just are, they're so happy, they're joyful, they're, there's like a youth to them. Oh. But these are just so different, like you said, because instead of one on one stalk, these have multiples and then different colors at the same time, because look, this one's already going, there's little buds here, so that will be behind it, and it will be a different color by the time this one is a different color. And then remember, here, this one's even further along.
Yes, and remember, these are perennial. So those sunflowers are annual, and these are perennial. So maybe you do grow those sunflowers, and you still want to grow them. These could go right in front of those.
Love it. All right. Less than $10 is a charge on a credit card. You get all three, and they're coming to you big already. M132425 is your item number.